Good day everyone! Welcome back to Surfax Learning Channel. For today's video, nais ko pong ibahagi sa inyo yung isa sa mga sample video presentation na pwede mong ipasa for your COT for this coming school year, dahil ngayong darating na school year, 4 na COT na ang dapat mong ipasa at isa doon ay pwedeng video. Ito po yung sample ng video presentation for your COT. Tara, samahan niyo po akong panoorin ang video ito.
Good day, learners! Welcome to Quarter 3, Week 2 of Mathematics 7. The most essential learning competencies for this week are: the learner derives relationships of geometric figures using measurements and by inductive reasoning, congruent angles, complementary angles, supplementary angles, vertical angles, adjacent angles, linear pairs, perpendicular lines, and parallel lines. This is the learner's packet for this week. For today, we will study about angles and how they are related to each other based on their measurements. The law of reflection in optics is illustrated by the diagram at the right. Optics is the branch of science that deals with the study of light and its behavior. Try to answer the following questions. Number 1. Based on the diagram, which angles have the same measurements? Number 2. What does the label normal mean? And number 3, if you will consider the mirror as a thin line, how many angles can you identify? Now, let's go over with the development part of your LEAP. Lesson 1. Congruent angles. Consider the two angles below. What can you say about their measurements? If angle ABC is equal to 75 degrees and angle PQR is equal to 75 degrees, the measure of angle ABC is equal to the measure of angle PQR. Then you can say that they are congruent. In symbols, angle ABC is congruent to angle PQR. The symbol congruent is used to denote congruent. If two angles are congruent, then they have the same measurements. Lesson 2. Complementary and supplementary angles. Consider the two angles below. If you add their measurements, what is the sum? In symbol, measure of angle ABC plus measure of angle DEF is equal to 90 degrees. If the sum of two angles is equal to 90 degrees, then the angles are complementary. Again, consider another pair of angles below. If you add their measurements, what is the sum? In symbols, measure of angle PQR plus the measure of angle STU is equal to 180. If the sum of the two angles is equal to 180 degrees, then the angles are supplementary. Lesson 3. Intersecting lines and vertical lines. Vertical angles rather. The two lines are intersecting if they have a common point called the point of intersection. Vertical angles are formed by two intersecting lines. At the right, there are two pairs of vertical angles. Angle 1 and angle 2 is a pair of vertical angles. Angle 3 and angle 4 is a pair of vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. If the angles are vertical angles, then they have the same measurement. Lesson 4. Adjacent angles and linear pair. Two angles are adjacent if they have a common side. An example of this is as follows. Angle BEN and angle TEN have a common side, ray EN. Therefore, you can say that angle BEN and angle PEN are adjacent angles. In case you add the measures of the two adjacent angles and you have a sum of 180 degrees, then the angles form a linear pair. In the figure above, angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent. Since the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 180, then angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. Now, if the sum of the angles of a linear pair measures 180 degrees, what type of pair of angle is it? Yes, a pair of supplementary angles. Lesson 5. Perpendicular and parallel lines. Perpendicular lines are intersecting lines that form right angles. Line L and P are perpendicular lines because they intersect at point J and form a right angle. This is the same case as line M and N, that their point of intersection is K and form a right angle. In symbols, we write L is perpendicular to T and M is perpendicular to N. Parallel lines are lines that do not intersect. Lines R and S are parallel lines because they have no point of intersection. Same case with lines W and Z. In symbols, we write R is parallel to S and W is parallel to Z. Alright, this time let's go to engagement part. Let's start with the learning task 1. Given the following pairs of angles, write the congruence between them in symbols. Example is, angle FIT is congruent to angle RUN. So it's time for you to answer numbers 1 to 5. For learning task 2, match angles in column A with the angles in column B to form a pair of complementary angles. Write the letter of your answer on the blank. So this time, I will help you to answer number 1. The measure of angle 1 is 15 degrees in column A. So what is the complementary angles of 15 degrees? What do you need to add to 15 degrees to get 90 degrees? Yes, very good. That is 75 degrees. So for number 1, the answer is letter F. Okay. Letter B. Match the angles in column A with the angles in column B to form a pair of supplementary angles. Write the letter of your answer on the blank. Again, let me help you in answering number 1. So we have here 60 degrees. What do you need to add to 60 to get 180 degrees, since supplementary angles have a sum of 180 degrees? Yes, very good. That is 120 degrees. And that is letter B. Okay? Let's go to learning task 3. Write 5 pairs of vertical angles. So the example is given, angle CAR and angle SAT. Now try to find another 5 pairs of vertical angles. For learning task 4, given the following linear pairs, find the measurement of the missing angle. So an example is given. We have 105 degrees and angle K. They form linear pairs. That's why angle K measures 75 degrees. So it's your turn to answer numbers 1, 2, and 3. This time, let's go to assimilation. Fill in the blanks. Number 1. If two angles have equal measurements, then they are blank. Number 2. If the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then they are called blank. But if the sum is 180 degrees, then they are called blank. Number 3. If two angles are vertical angles, then they are blank. Number 4. A linear pair is blank angles whose sum is blank. Number 5. Perpendicular lines are blank lines that form blank angles, while parallel lines are lines that do not blank. Okay, this time let's go with the assessment. For your quiz, choose the letter of your best answer. Number 1. What is the measure of angle A if it is complementary to angle B that has a measure of 55 degrees? Letter A, 25 degrees, B, 35 degrees, C, 55 degrees, or D, 125 degrees. Number 2. Which of the following is the supplement of angle X, which is 80 degrees? A, 10 degrees, B, 80 degrees, C, 100 degrees, or D, 280 degrees. Number 3. At the right are two intersecting lines. If the measure of angle 1 is equal to 130 degrees, then what is the measure of angle 2? Letter A, exactly 50 degrees, B, exactly 130 degrees, C, less than 130 degrees, or D, greater than 130 degrees. Number 4. If angle P and angle Q form a linear pair and the measure of angle P is equal to the measure of angle Q, what is the measure of angle P? A, 30 degrees, B, 60 degrees, C, 90 degrees, or D, 120 degrees. Number 5. Which of the following correctly completes the statement below? If two lines intersect, then A, they are perpendicular, B, they have a common point of intersection, C, they do not meet, or D, they form right angles. So for your reflection, on your notebook, complete the following. I understand that, I realize that, I need to learn more about. That's all for today. Thank you for listening and watching. I hope you learned something. Till next time, happy learning!